Welcome back to Reddit Sports, everybody. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm here to give you guys my Monday Night Raw review for February 23rd, 2026. Before we get into the review, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more good content headed your way. Please share with your friends and family to help the channel continue to grow. So we had Monday Night Raw live tonight from the State Farm Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. The key matches for tonight was the Elimination Chamber qualifying match with Bronson Reed versus Jey Uso versus El Grande Americano. We had the Women's Elimination Chamber Triple Threat qualifying match with the Judgment Day's Raquel Rodriguez, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. After that, we had singles matches between the Alpha Academy's Maxine Dupree versus Natty now. We're here for more WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the best in the world, CM Punk. The Judgment Day Liv Morgan will make her WrestleMania 42 decision. The Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar returned tonight, and tonight was also a tribute to the phenomenal AJ Styles for his retirement. So again, the show was live from Atlanta, Georgia. This entire show, before we get into it, just my opening thoughts, just to give you guys the rundown of what happened tonight. This show was absolutely terrible. This crowd in Atlanta, usually bigger city crowds are supposed to be really, really loud, supposed to be great crowds. This crowd was very, very boring. They didn't really share this crowd. I was actually embarrassed about Atlanta because usually Atlanta brings a great crowd, especially when WWE goes to these big cities. So for me, this crowd was absolutely terrible. They had no energy. There was no life in this crowd. The only time there was life in this crowd is when CM Punk came out and obviously, or when he appeared inside a NASCAR driver, basically drove him around, the same guy who basically won for Michael Jordan's team in NASCAR. CM Punk got the loudest pop. AJ Styles got a decent pop. He didn't really get a loud pop as I expected him to. And The Undertaker surprised AJ Styles at the end of the show. A little spoiler alert for you guys. And he got a loud pop too. They tried to say holy SHIT, but the crowd didn't stick with it. Again, this crowd was absolutely terrible tonight with this entire show. The road to WrestleMania looks, I told you guys on SmackDown, and I told you guys last week on my Night Raw review that it looks terrible. The road to WrestleMania looks absolutely awful. We'll get into everything that happened tonight, but this company just doesn't learn a lesson. They just can't learn. This is absolutely a terrible Monday Night Raw. Again, I just don't understand it. I don't understand why we can't just book fun and creative storyline and storytelling. And sometimes I think these crowds are absolutely terrible because the shows are absolutely terrible. And the energy coming from the show is absolutely terrible. Sometimes the crowd can really carry a show that's terrible, but sometimes the crowd will let you know if this is not a good show. And for some reason, this crowd, again, was awful, and the show was awful. I told you guys, I don't hold my tongue. I try to be very, very fair. If it's a good show, I'll praise it. If it's a bad show, I'm going to criticize it. Saturday night's main event was a good show. That's the best WWE show that they've produced all year. The Royal Rumble was terrible. I gave it a D+. Everything else was horrible. Elimination Chamber is this Saturday, and I'm not excited for it. I want to see the matches, but I'm not excited for the actual event because creatively, we don't know what they're going to do with the Men's Elimination Chamber. AJ Lee and Becky Lynch have not been good at all. I told you guys last week, AJ Lee cut her best promo, but to her standard, this entire time that she's been back, it's been a horrible promos from AJ Lee. Gunther still has not done anything since he retired AJ Styles and he retired John Cena. They continuously keep giving him heat. Everybody thinks this is good. It's not good. I'm going to explain to you why it's not good when we get through the review. But overall, this entire show was just not good at all. The ending was good. Got to The Undertaker again. That's fine and dandy. But as far as this entire show goes, it was terrible. I just don't know what we're doing for WrestleMania season. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what their plans are. Spoiler, Bronson Reed got hurt again. The whole entire division is basically getting hurt, and they're basically cursed at this point. Seth Rollins got hurt. He got kicked out of the group. Braun Breaker's hurt, and now Bronson Reed got hurt when he tried to break up a pinfall. He messed up his arm, and basically now he's out indefinitely. I'm reading it right now. It says WWE announces Bronson Reed has suffered a distilled bicep tear, and as such is out of action indefinitely. So he suffered a bicep tear. If you believe that this injury actually happened, which he did legitimately look hurt, so I'm not going to question it whether they're running a fake injury angle or not, because I don't want to do that to Bronson Reed, because supposedly he was supposed to win this match. We'll get into the winner later on in the review, but that's the injury update for Bronson Reed. But again, this show was absolutely terrible. We're going to get into it right now. The show opens up with Michael Cole and Corey Graves welcoming us into Monday Night Raw live from Atlanta. Cole and Graves are in the ring, and Cole mentions that tonight we pay tribute to AJ Styles. Gunther then interrupts Corey's introduction and makes his way to the ring. He basically came through the crowd. Not all the way up where Jey Uso comes from, but just right where the announce desk is. He came through the crowd. Gunther says you were trying your best, but it was not good enough. Gunther then tells them to get behind the announce desk and talk about how great he is. Gunther then says, you are not happy to see him because you idiots came here to celebrate the career of AJ Styles. Gunther then says it is disgraceful to have a celebration for a loser. Gunther then says you feel for the losers like Bill Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles. Gunther then says what they all have in common is that he killed their careers. Gunther then says what should really happen tonight should be a celebration for a truly great wrestler. Now, throughout the time when he's talking, Adam Pearce is basically screaming on the microphone, tapping the microphone, make sure everybody hears him, which we can hear you. He's screaming, but Gunther's just ignoring him. So he's screaming in the mic. He's screaming in the microphone, and Adam Pearce then makes his way out. He tells Gunther that enough is enough as he makes his way down to the ring. Pearce then says he knew that Gunther was going to come out here. Pearce then says we are going to celebrate the career of AJ Styles. Pearce then tells Gunther his boys are escorting him out of the building. Gunther then says he is going to leave not because he's being told to leave, but because he is disgraced by what is going to happen tonight. Gunther then leaves the ring, warns his security not to touch him, and walks off laughing. Gunther then poses for one last time before Dragon Lee attacks him from behind. Security then pulls Lee off, and Gunther angrily charges off. Now, before I get into the rest of this breakdown, I just want to say something about Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce annoys me now. Enough. He just yells at everything. I said! And the way he yells is very, very irritating. I have a problem with people when their voices, whether they get screechy, yelling the way that they do. And for some reason, every single week he yells. And by the way, I said this on my SmackDown review. And I think I said it on my Monday Night Raw review. But I definitely said it on my SmackDown review. You guys can go check it out. I said, verbatim, that next week on SmackDown, somebody's going to get escorted out the building. Somebody's going to get kicked out of the building. And I said the same thing is going to happen on Raw. Everything that I said came true. Somebody's going to do something. And he's going to kick him out of the building. This is their ML with this company for some reason. If they want to take somebody off of television for the night, they continuously just throw them out of the building. Nick Aldis does that on SmackDown. Adam Pearce does it on Monday Night Raw. It's very, very annoying. The fact that you have nothing creatively for anybody in the company, so the fact that you just sit there and just throw these guys out of the building is nonsense. It's lazy booking. I told you guys, I don't really complain about the matches. I just complain about the booking. I want the booking to be, well, the match is going to be good. Again, I tell you guys every single week, the company and the wrestlers need to sell a bit more. But other than that, the booking of these shows are terrible. And if you guys are watching my review, you guys can actually go step by step of these segments as I'm doing when I do the reviews. And you guys can see that this is terrible. The booking of these shows are absolutely horrendous and terrible. Gunther coming out doing the same heel work that he's been doing for the past couple weeks. Oh, Bill Goldberg, AJ Styles, John Cena, then AJ Styles. And then you have Dragon Lee, who we don't care about. When he was getting attacked, it was a little cheer here and there, and that was it. Nobody cared. Michael Cole's trying to sell it because that's his job, and I don't blame him, but nobody cares. I don't care about Dragon Lee. Now, I know you guys are going to say, well, Brandon, don't you want them to build new superstars? Yes, but when you spend so many years showing me that somebody doesn't matter, and then you're trying to build them up, it takes longer than that. It takes longer to build up somebody. The same thing with Austin Theory. You spent years with him and Grayson Waller being together, and you spent years telling me that this guy is a throwaway ever since Vince McMahon left. So if Vince McMahon leaves, and what about Austin Theory, then who cares? They spent so much time making us not care about somebody that now you actually want to book them. Why should we get into it when we just don't care about them? You can't tell somebody that we don't care about you for years, and all of a sudden now you're going to get a push because now we care about you. And then now you want the crowd to actually care about you. Again, I just don't understand what this company wants us to do. Oh, just shut up and you can't have an opinion. Sit back and enjoy the show. No, I'm not going to sit back and enjoy the show. If it's terrible writing, I'm going to tell you guys that it's terrible. Point blank period. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, you're always complaining. You complain like everybody else in the interested community. I don't care. People work to have the electricity on, to eat, to be able to watch this show because you want people to watch shows. You want people to show up. Hell, you're putting blackouts on Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania so that people can't watch it because your ticket sales are not selling enough. How disingenuous is that? Tell people to shut up and enjoy the product and go to the product and watch the product. You have people who want to do watch parties to enjoy the product and they can't even do that. And I don't put that on Triple H, so let's separate that. It's on TKO. I told you guys for months and for months since I've been doing these reviews that TKO should not be in the wrestling business. And it starts with Mark Shapiro. Errol Manuel is the owner of it, or the guy who runs it, but Mark Shapiro being on a board of WWE doesn't help anything. Absolutely terrible. And I still remember his comments when he said that Vince McMahon made wrestling affordable for families. Who else is supposed to be for then? Wrestling has a very, very niche audience. And when you disrespect that audience, what do you think is going to happen to the company? This is just pitiful. Anyway, but I don't really care about Adam Pearce and Gunther continues coming out. Oh, this was good. No, it wasn't. This was not good at all. Dragon Lee beating up Gunther, which if you wanted to me to be able to sell, oh, you have to suspend your disbelief. Okay, I'll suspend my disbelief. But do I really care about Dragon Lee defending AJ Styles when they should have never been a tag team in the first place? No, I do not. I just simply did not care about any of this. After that, we get Raw General Manager Adam Pearce then pushes Gunther through the gorilla position, and Gunther is irate. Dragon Lee then attacks Gunther again, and then they brawl backstage area. Security then pulls Lee off, and Gunther is furious. Pearce then asks if Gunther is happy, and tonight is not his night. He's basically yelling again. That's why I sound and my face looks disgusted, because I don't like this guy just yells all the time. He yells all the time. Dude, give it a break. Relax. Whoever is writing his promos, stop yelling all the time. It's an annoyance. The fact that this guy is yelling and yelling every single week. I need a drink. And I'm glad he stopped saying I need a drink. But the fact that he's yelling every single week is so nauseating. It's like, dude, can you just stop yelling for a week? Just 1 week. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes then shows up and looks at Gunther with disgust before heading to the gorilla position. The American Nightmare Cody Rhodes then makes his way down to the ring to a big reception for the crowd. I did forget that point. He did get one of the loudest pops of the night. Cody then grabs the microphone after he does his long entrance. He starts off by saying he knows what you guys want to talk about. That is AJ Styles. Cody then says AJ is wrestling royalty. Bronson Reed's music hits, and he is joined on stage by Paul Heyman, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory. Heyman then tries to speak, but the crowd boos him. Theory then says he cannot stand this place. He basically hates Atlanta. Theory then says they disrespect the wise men in the division. Theory then says he is ashamed to be from Atlanta. Paul then takes the microphone and says Rhodes isn't ashamed to be from Atlanta. Paul then says, just like everyone from Atlanta, Rhodes has zero common sense. Cheap heat that didn't make any sense, and cheap heat that nobody cares about. They booed Logan Paul. The Vision sucks. This whole entire Vision angle has been absolutely terrible since Seth Rollins got hurt. Seth Rollins' injury has had a domino effect in this company that has been awful throughout everything. If I'm WWE and AJ and Seth Rollins comes back, I'm not putting the world title back on him unless he's facing Roman Reigns for the title. Unless he faces Roman Reigns at WrestleMania next year in the main event for the Heavyweight title, that's the only way I'm putting another title back on Seth Rollins, is if he's going to be in a main event against Roman Reigns, that main event that we've unfortunately cannot get this year. But other than that, I'm not doing it. Seth Rollins will no longer be a world champion as if I'm writing this show. There's no disrespect to him. I love Seth Rollins and what he's done for this business. There's no disrespect to him at all. But him being injury prone has ruined a lot of what's going on. You can't blame him. I'm not blaming him for being injured. But Seth Rollins has been injured on a number of occasions that has had a bad domino effect when it comes to certain things supposed to be done. This WrestleMania is supposed to be flawless with the booking, but because he got hurt, Roman Reigns trashed the company. He wins the Royal Rumble. He's supposed to face Seth Rollins, but Seth Rollins is hurt, so now he's facing CM Punk. It's just too much. Braun Breaker is now hurt, so who's Seth Rollins going to face now? Bronson Reed is hurt. Who's Seth Rollins going to face now? Who is he going to face now when he gets back? Logan Paul again? You're going to have him that rematch WrestleMania 39, and then Seth Rollins is probably going to go over. If that's the case, then you might as well make the WrestleMania main event another triple threat match and have Roman Reigns get his victory against Seth Rollins and CM Punk. You might as well just do that. Because Seth Rollins is going to have no opponent for WrestleMania. You can't even give him Bronson Reed now. Paul then says Rhodes is insane for showing up on Monday Night Raw. Paul then says when Bronson Reed wins tonight, Elimination Chamber and at WrestleMania, the Vision will take over SmackDown. He then says Rhodes will be the first one out of the door. Paul then sarcastically says, God bless all of you, to the crowd because they'll watch Reed win his qualifying match starting right now. Rhodes then says he doesn't know. Rhodes says he is pretty sure there is someone here who would disagree with that. The Usos make their entrance through the crowd, and my only complaint about this is I'm tired of the whole Yeet thing. I defend Jey Uso a lot because people criticize Jey Uso because of his in-ring stuff. He has charisma. The whole Yeeting thing, I think it's bothering people because when Jey Uso was cutting promos back in 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, when he was cutting promos before he started yeeting, he was absolutely great when he was cutting his promos. Now he sounds terrible because everything is 4 letters, 1 word, yeet. It's always yeet this and yeet that instead of him just being, let him cut his promo. Just cut your promo without the yeet. Let the crowd yeet, but you cut your promo, and for some reason, it's not working. Now, the yeeting is working, the merchandise and stuff like that, but when he talks and he cuts a promo and really wants to connect with the crowd, it's not there. It's just not. And the reason why it's not there is because he yeets too much. And another thing, if you're going to reunite Jey Uso and put him in a tag team division, why are they coming out to his entrance music instead of the Usos' theme music? It basically negates Jimmy Uso. It's supposed to be day one-ish. What happened to that? You're negating Jimmy Uso. in favor of Jey Uso to be out there yeeting again. Then after that, the El Grande Americano makes his way out to the ring. And by the way, if you guys guessing and wondering if Cody Rhodes showed back up throughout the entire show, the answer is no. The reason why they had Cody Rhodes come out because he's, from Atlanta, Georgia, and he comes out there, he gets a nice pop. This is to pop the crowd. This is lazy booking again. Why is Cody Rhodes on this show? To pay tribute to AJ Styles, and he should just came out and had his entrance or whatever the case may be, or did a backstage promo, or came out on the stage when everybody else came out on the stage. But they did this to get a nice cheap pop for Cody Rhodes to be able to come out. Again, you didn't see him for the rest of the night, which I knew that was going to happen. The same thing with Gunther. You didn't see him for the rest of the night because he was kicked out of the building again. El Grande Americano makes his way down to the ring. I don't know why he was in this match, but we get to the end of this match. Bronson Reed tried to break up the pinfall. He's basically hurt on the outside. Jay then goes up top, but Grande Americano hits the ropes to crotch Jay. Americano then goes to the turnbuckles for a superplex, but Jay blocks it and sends Americano to the mat. Jay then hits a frog splash, but Americano gets his knees up and gets a near fall with an inside cradle. Americano then clinches in the ankle lock, and Jay crawls to the ropes but realizes it doesn't help. Jay then kicks Americano, but Americano holds on. Jay then rolls through to send Americano onto the floor. Jay then hits a super kick, and Americano hits a rolling kick. Jay then hits a spear, and he goes up for the top rope for frog splash for the win. The winner of this match is Jey Uso. We get another look back at AJ Styles. Now, my only thing is they had to put the reason Jey Uso won this match is because Bronson Reed got hurt. Bronson Reed, according to WrestleVotes, who is now partnered with Fightful Select, shout out FightfulSelect.com, but they did tweet out, WrestleVotes did tweet it out, give them their credit, that Bronson Reed was supposed to win, but because he got hurt, that they made the call to make Jey Uso win. Now, if I was the company, I would have just said, hey, pass some outside interference, and after I have some outside interference, we'll decide on Saturday who's going to be in the chamber and do a mystery opponent and have somebody like a heel come out, or whatever the case may be. The fact that they put Jey Uso and made the call for Jey Uso, I get it. I'm not mad at the call. I'm just mad about Jey Uso being in the match, period. Which I am mad at the call because I didn't want, of course you don't want El Grande Americano in the match, but I didn't want Jey Uso to win either. If this was the case, it should have been outside interference, and they should have did something on SmackDown to get somebody else to qualify for the match. I don't want Jey Uso in this match. I'm not going to lie. I don't want Jey Uso in the Elimination Chamber. I do not want him in this chamber match. I know he's not going to win anyway, but I still do not want him. You're a World Tag Team Champion. You need to be with Jimmy Uso, and they need to start playing both of you guys' music to stop upstaging your own brother. And that's not on Jey Uso. I'm not blaming him. I'm blaming the company. I always put it at the company's feet, not the talent, unless they just do something terrible. But again, this was fine for what it was. But Bronson Reed getting hurt messed up his plans because I really wanted to see him win and go on to the Elimination Chamber. But Jey Uso basically sends off the impression that he's going to get pinned and he's not going to win this match. Because if he wins, good Lord, is the backlash going to be unbearable. We then see Shinsuke Nakamura and Bobby Roode in the back. Obviously, this is for AJ Styles, his retirement, so a lot of his friends are backstage. Tyler Ridge's car then makes his way to the parking lot garage, and WWE World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk makes his way out of the passenger seat to a big pop. Now, we go on to Liv Morgan, makes her way down to the ring with Dominic Mysterio, and she still appears to be shaken about what she was told last week by Women's World Champion Stephanie Valkyrie. We see subtitles to tell everyone who doesn't speak Spanish what Stephanie said. Dominic starts off by saying, "You are in the presence of the greatest Intercontinental Champion, AAA Mega Champion, and the Royal Rumble winner of all time." Dominic then says, "It is the moment you all have been waiting for." Dominic says Liv is going to make her decision for her opponent. Dominic then says the champions to come out so she can make her decision face to face. Stephanie Valkyrie makes her way down to the ring, and she's followed by Jade Cargill. Now I'm going to stop right here for just a quick second. My only problem with this entire segment was absolutely awful, and this segment was, I don't even know what to say. It was awful and it was terrible. But before we get to why it was terrible, I have a huge issue, and I know a lot of the women who watch WWE and who watch because they want to see the women thrive in the women's division. I'm going to back their play today. The fact that Dominic Mysterio is always involved with women is now troublesome. I'm not blaming him, but the company continuously keeps booking him to be a part of these women's segments. They don't need him. He needs to be moved to the side. This is not Eddie Guerrero in China when he's just trying to sweet talk China. She wasn't in the ring wrestling at the time, and, she wasn't involved with the women's world title, and then he was just trying to, always stick around her at that time. No, this is way different. This is a different climate and a different era. Dominic Mysterio being a part of this is nauseating now. It's annoying. Liv Morgan go out there herself and pick her opponent. Why is Dominic Mysterio out there with Liv Morgan? This made no sense at all. Get Dominic Mysterio away from the women's division. Yes, he can support Liv Morgan, but get away from the division and have him focus on the IC title that he has not defended since November. His booking is starting to annoy me too. I'm getting annoyed about everything because I told you the show was terrible and it was horrible and it's going to get worse. The review is going to get worse. But this was absolutely terrible. But Dominic Mysterio constantly poking his nose in the women's business. Enough of it. Stop booking him that way. That's not the way you get him heat. You get him heat because people just don't like him for the way that he acts. Not that he's a part of the women's division and continues to keep screwing people and stuff like that. And I hope when Liv Morgan comes out in WrestleMania that he's not there. Because he should not be there. Enough of Dominic Mysterio being a part of the women's division. I'm tired of it. It's enough of it. Enough. No more. Liv Morgan takes the microphone and she says, she knows you guys have been patiently waiting for her to decide who her WrestleMania opponent will be. I have not been patiently waiting because I already know who she's going to pick. Liv then says she is ready, but she has something to get off her chest. And this is where everything goes downhill. Liv then tells Stephanie her words last week caught her by surprise. She then says she's never been that vulnerable. She says Stephanie was right. She says she didn't know about Stephanie's story to go to WWE. Liv then says now that she knows her story, she is sorry for judging her. Liv then tells Stephanie, you are the champion because of what you went through. Liv then turns to Jade and looks at her, and then she takes the microphone and punches Stephanie Valkyrie in the head. Stephanie Valkyrie basically falls out. Jade then backs away while Liv punches Stephanie Valkyrie many times. Liv then hits a code breaker, and she takes Stephanie's title belt and hits her with an Oblivion. Liv then holds up the belt afterwards, after Dominic Mysterio gave her the belt. Now, I just want to say this too. This segment was horrible. The promo was terrible. It was very, very lackluster. She was trying to be vulnerable. And I saw that you went through this, and you really earned the way that you got here. And so, I'm sorry about that. I misjudged you. This shit was terrible. Excuse my French. This was horrible. It was a horrible promo. And the attack afterwards, Jade Cargill just walking out of the ring after she was all up in Liv Morgan's face on Friday Night SmackDown. She walks out the ring. She's continuously beating up Stephanie Valkyrie. This got no pop at all. Except the only thing that got a pop was when she got hit in the head with the microphone, Stephanie Valkyrie. And then she basically falls down. After that, it was over. There was no pop for this. You want to know why there was no pop for this? Because Stephanie Valkyrie has not been put in the greatest light except for last week when they gave her that great promo. It was a great promo. Nobody understood it, but it was a great promo. And when I read it back last week, it was a great promo. I said it as such. It was a great promo. But why? Because she was hurt. She came back at Saturday Night's main event. And then after that, they had a six-woman tag team match with her, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky versus Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez. But this segment was terrible. So now we're going to get Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Valkyrie for Women's World Title. And by the way, if I'm the company, I'm going to keep the title on Stephanie Valkyrie. I'm not letting Liv Morgan win the Women's World Title again. I'm just not. I'm not going to do it. I'm not putting the belt back on Liv Morgan because I do not want the belt being with Judgment Day again because they're barely going to defend the championships. I know a lot of people love Liv Morgan. I like Liv Morgan too. I love her work. I love what she does. Voice a little bit annoying, but this promo is absolutely terrible. But just all in all, I don't want to see her be the Women's World Champion again. It's Stephanie Valkyrie's time. Give her a championship until we get to SummerSlam and have her lose the belt then. But other than that, I don't want to see Liv Morgan be Women's World Champion again. That is over now. It was annoying when she basically had to go against Rhea Ripley and that whole entire thing, and she barely did. I don't want to see it again. No more. Stephanie Valkyrie, she's the face of the division right now. Since Rhea Ripley's in the tag team division, she needs to be given more time. Stephanie Valkyrie. So after that, we then see Byron Saxton backstage with Javon Evans. Byron asked Evans about his victory last week before Evans could say anything. All set. Rapper extraordinaire shows up and he says he is here for AJ Styles, and his song will be the theme of the Elimination Chamber. The New Day then show up, and Woods complains about how Atlanta is treating him, Atlanta's son, basically, which this was absolutely awful. And not on Javon Evans' part. I like Javon Evans. He's again, I told you guys, a future breakout star. I love everything that Javon Evans does. My problem with this was the New Day, and we're going to get to it. New Day shows up, and Woods complains about how Atlanta is treating him. Kofi then asks Offset why he never showed up when they invited him. Offset says to the New Day that they suck because New Day sucks. Evans just makes a challenge and Woods says he's injured. You're basically going to try to beat up an injured guy. Kofi then tells Evans to lace him his boots because Evans can't lace up his boots. We then get more comments from wrestlers about AJ Styles. We then take a look at AJ Styles beating Jinder Mahal to become WWE Champion. We then see Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows show up to surprise Michin, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa, who were out of character, but they basically showed up for AJ Styles. Maxine Dupree made her way down to the ring for the next match of the night against Natty. Now, before I get to that, the last thing I want to say about the New Day is it was completely boring. That backstage segment, I don't know why we got it. It was to set up a match, obviously. But again, New Day, their run is over. The New Day's run is over. This new iteration of them is absolutely terrible. Just wanted to make that clear. So we have Maxine Dupree versus Natty. Maxine, no pop. Natty, no pop. The match started off with Natty sending Dupree into the corner and punching her. Dupree then hits a drop kick and a spinning heel kick. Dupree then hits a kick and Natty goes to the floor. Dupree then follows up and Natty sends Dupree over the ringside barrier, but Dupree hits a kick and a crossbody off of the ringside barrier. Dupree then sends Natty into the ringside barrier. Natty then kicks Dupree into the ring post, and Dupree is down. Natty then stands over Dupree, and the referee stops her. Natty then hits some punches to the back of her head, and she punched Dupree some more until the referee intervenes. The winner of the singles match due to referee stoppage is Natty. Now, I want to say this. This is absolutely terrible, and I'm going to tell you why. This was terrible because when Natty kicked Maxine Dupree, she hit her head into the post. It was a little bit of a delay, and when that delay happened, she hits her head and she falls down, and she's supposed to be knocked out. If somebody's knocked out and you want it to be believable, how about you be the referee and you throw up the X sign to say that she's legitimately locked out, to give somebody a surprise to say, okay, Natty's really, really this vicious and she knocked her out. But what did you do instead? You had Natty. This is how everybody knew that this was basically scripted a little bit too much. She knocks her head against the ring post. She acts like she's knocked out. What does Natty do? If somebody's really knocked out in the company, the realism of it is that the referee puts up the X sign and Natty can't continuously keep touching her. Give us some realism, make us suspend our disbelief to think that she's really knocked out. But what did they do instead? They had Natty basically get on top of her and punch those some weak punches at the back of her head. She's punching her in the back of her head. The referees continuously kind of trying to stop her. Then more referees comes out and tell her basically they're doing their whole wave in the hand thing. The wave in the hand thing basically saying stop. This is how you know it was BS. They exposed themselves by this particular thing. You know it's BS that she's really not knocked out. Okay, you want to suspend our disbelief, but she's not knocked out. Why? Because you had the referees going out there and swinging their arms. And the referee comes out there and swings their arm. That's how you know, oh, stop it, she's knocked out. No. This would have been much better if you would just beat her down, had her tap out, and have Natty look strong and just walk straight to the back and be vicious. And this company has managed to take a character that Natty's portraying to be the living legend or the walking legend or whatever it is called, and managed to ruin it within 2 to 3 weeks. You had her debut this gimmick in the Royal Rumble, which did not go over well. Then after that, you had her come out last week, or the week before last, and put the sharpshooter on her, and then Natty's facial expressions look fake to me. It shouldn't be this fake. It needs to be natural, like when she's on the independent scene, when she's doing Bloodsport. I don't know what this version of it, this WWE version of Natty is terrible. And I'm not blaming Natty, I'm blaming the company because they're putting her in a terrible position. You see, I'm going to blame the company and the creative writers. I'm not going to blame the wrestlers unless it looks terrible, but in this instance, Maxine Dupree sold this terribly. She's laid out on the floor, but the referees sell it terribly because Natty's trying to hit her in the back of the head and it didn't work. This did not work at all. It made them look silly when they booked this. The proper way was to start the match, was to have Natty punch her in the face, beat her up, throw her against the buckle, throw her up against the steps, roll her back in the ring, and basically put the submission in until she passes out, basically stomp her out, and basically walk out. That's exactly what they should have done. You see how simple that was? Do you see how simply I just came up with that? Have them ring the bell, have her beat her up, basically call disqualification, have her beat her down, continuously keep beating her down, throwing into the ring post, throwing into steel steps, basically put her in a sharpshooter until the referee takes her out, and then walks off, basically spit at the ground or something like that, and just continuously walk off as if she's a badass. And what you're doing right now is presenting to me a fake badass. This was not good at all. We then head to the back where Liv wishes Raquel Rodriguez good luck. And Raquel says she doesn't need luck to win. JD apologizes to Finn for last week. He says he wants what is best for Finn. Finn then says brothers fight and there's water under the bridge. Finn then says he has to do it alone. Dominic then tells Finn and JD that they left him hanging and that is why he lost. He then tells him that they need his help next week against Penta. That he needs their help next week against Penta. JD then says he will be there. Finn then says he is preparing for the biggest match of his career. He then points out that when they were injured, he had to do it alone. He then says Dominic needs to grow up and do it on his own. They're basically planting more seeds about this crack. And by the way, I just want to say this as an aside before we get to the rest of the review. At WrestleMania, I don't want to see a multi-man match for the IC title. Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. Get us there and take us home. This has been teased far long enough. Get us home. What I think is going to happen is that Dominic Mysterio is going to cost Finn Balor the title on accident, or JD McDonough, and then that's going to basically get them to face Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio. That's the WrestleMania match. If right now you're Triple H and you have the pin, Carmelo Hayes versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship at WrestleMania, no multi-man match. Then at WrestleMania, Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio, the story tells itself. Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams, the story tells itself. Go back to NXT. You have NXT footage for a reason. You can go back to that and not too much off of it, but replay that, and you can do Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio and go off of that story. Then with the women's world title, it's Liv Morgan versus Stephanie Valkyrie for that championship. You have the women's IC title, which it should not be AJ Lee. We'll get to Becky Lynch later on, but AJ Lee should not be challenging Becky Lynch at WrestleMania for the IC title. I already told you guys I didn't want to see that. What the company needs to do is at Elimination Chamber, Rhea Ripley needs to win that chamber and face Jade Cargill and have Rhea Ripley go over there. And they also need to have, which I'm spoiling it, but I'm going to do this for a reason, Io Sky needs to go to SmackDown and challenge Julia for the Women's United States Championship at WrestleMania and have Becky Lynch face somebody else. If you're going to put AJ Lee in a match at WrestleMania, I don't want it to be against Becky Lynch. Let it be somebody else. Let it be Bayley or something like that. Let them do something like that. A dream opponent for Bayley. Make it right with Bayley. Make this right with Bayley that she can have a good match at WrestleMania. Give her AJ Lee. Give Becky Lynch somebody else and just build somebody else up after that. But I don't want to see Becky Lynch and AJ Lee at WrestleMania. I don't want to see that. But the matches I just gave you should be good enough. We then get a surprise from Trick Williams. He makes his way out to the interview area. Kathy Kelly asks him about Jay qualifying for the chamber and asks about his strategy. Trick says he has finally arrived. Trick then says he wasn't supposed to be here tonight, but someone told him that Atlanta has the best chicken wings in the world. Trick then says if they have the best chicken wings, maybe it is right that he came with the shoes, his lemon pepper steppers. I love Trick Williams, man. I love Trick Williams. Trick then says he's going to get the job done. Trick then says no one will be eating, no RKOs, no American Nightmares, no one saying yeah, LA Knight, yeah, and we won't be bouncy as it is about him. We didn't get a video package of Obafemi. We then head to the back. We see Adam Pearce wants to know why the crate, that big ass crate, that, by the way, if somebody comes out of this crate, I know you're supposed to suspend your disbelief, but if somebody comes out of this crate, you mean to tell me that since February 16th until February 28th, we're supposed to believe that a human was in there for that entire time? Do you see how the inconsistency of this booking is? Ridiculous. Anyway, so he asks him why is the crate here, and he is told that Nick Aldis wanted to be here. He then tells the assistant to send it to Chicago so they can open it together. This better be good. I told you guys last week, I'm going to tell you guys again, this box opening needs to be a home run. I know it's not Seth Rollins, and I know it's not Bianca Belair because she had the finger surgery. Or finger surgery, then now she's doing rehab. This better be great, and it better not be Danhausen from AEW. I see people saying that. It better not be Danhausen. So after that, Rusev knocks on the box, the crate rather. Then he asks to talk to Adam Pearce, but Pearce says he has a meeting. Obafemi then shows up, and Rusev says Oba talks too much for a new guy. Pearce then tells them to put things off for AJ. Pearce then leaves with Rusev. I don't understand why would these guys care about AJ Styles and stop fighting for AJ? Who told them to write this? Why does Obafemi care about... Now, I know it's a tribute show to AJ, so I'm not trying to disrespect AJ Styles, but why would Obafemi or Rusev even care? Why would they care? They're supposed to two big guys who want to get at each other. So, I don't know. I'm just leave that alone. But anyway, so now we get the Brock Lesnar's advertisement coming up next. We get Brock Lesnar makes his way down to the ring, and this is infuriated me the most. This entire thing infuriated me the most. Brock Lesnar makes his way down to the ring. He does his bounce, boom, boom, pyro. Good thing for pyro. Make sure he doesn't fall near the rear, on the stage again. He's pointing down to Paul Heyman. Brock then makes his way down to the ring with Paul Heyman. Paul then introduces himself and Paul then says WrestleMania traditionally has two main events, the title match and the Undertaker's streak. Paul then reminds us that Brock Lesnar ended Undertaker's streak so that the main event spot went to Brock. Paul then says the only dead man walking is the one who comes down the aisle to face Brock. Paul then says, who will fight Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania? Paul then says he does not have a prediction or spoil because there was no person man enough backstage who could identify to take an ass beating of biblical proportions at WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Basically, the rest of this promo was basically him saying that nobody is going to challenge Brock Lesnar. He says nobody's going to enter his open challenge. He says these are his dates that he's going to be on all of the shows, and that nobody's going to come down the ring and challenge Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. That was the gist of it. He says, Paul then says at the end of this, there is no one in the locker room with the balls to take care of that ass kicking at Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania from Brock Lesnar. Paul then drops the mic and they head off out. This was a wasted appearance for Brock Lesnar. You mean to tell me that you don't know what Brock Lesnar's doing at WrestleMania, so you have him come out there, waste an appearance? By the way, you had to pay him to be there, so I know that's a lot of money, just for Paul Heyman to say that this is an open challenge. Are you out of your rabbit ass mind? Are you out of your mind? You have this guy fly all the way from Canada or wherever he lives to come in here and for Paul Heyman to cut a promo. What was the point of wasting an appearance fee with money? I thought the company was trying to save money or make more money, and yet you're wasting money on the appearance by Brock Lesnar in Atlanta. For what? To issue an open challenge? Paul Heyman could do the promo by himself. This is all we get from Brock Lesnar. This is all we get. At WrestleMania, I don't want Oba Femi facing Brock Lesnar. Because if Brock Lesnar's not done, and SummerSlam is in Minneapolis, and if the Saudi people want Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania next year, then he's probably not going to retire in Minneapolis. I got to wait for another year. I don't want to see Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. Let it be Gunther, because you're not doing anything with Gunther, so let it be Gunther. Let us get the match that we wanted 2-3 years ago, before Brock Lesnar got pushed to the side, because of stuff that's outside of the company that I won't be discussing. If you're going to have Brock Lesnar back, put him in a match against Gunther because, we want Gunther to retire Brock Lesnar. Says who? I just want to see them in the ring together. I don't care about whether Gunther retires him or not. I don't want to see Oba Femi versus Brock Lesnar. That match could be done at a SummerSlam or something like that. At WrestleMania, let Gunther and Brock Lesnar, they're both heels, but I don't know what you're going to do. But let it be Gunther. Because if they face at SummerSlam, it's in Minneapolis, Minnesota, they're both going to be heels. I mean, Brock Lesnar's going to walk in, he's going to get cheered because it's his hometown crowd. But again, I don't want to see Brock Lesnar face Oba Femi. This WrestleMania build has been terrible, and now Brock Lesnar is back, but he has an open challenge. Supposedly supposed to be LA Knight supposed to face Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and then for some reason, if everybody gets mad that Brock Lesnar has to go over WrestleMania, he's going to beat LA Knight, then what happens? Everybody's going to be even more mad. Man, Triple H, man, you are on the hot seat for real. Becky Lynch, we get Becky Lynch up next. She cuts a promo and asks, what has AJ Lee ever done? Becky says, you held one butterfly belt, but she changed the game. Becky says that she has taken the business to heights it was never reached with you. Becky then says you do not deserve to hold this, but she deserves to get rid of you and retire you in front of your friends and family in your hometown. Becky then says you will be the least talented AJ to retire this year. Becky then says she proves it on Saturday. My problem with this promo was, also in this promo, she said that I was the first woman on the video game cover and it did well. No, it didn't. Whatever she said, it did not do. That video game was one of the worst WWE 2K video games ever. So congratulations for being on a cover of a horrible video game. And not only that part of it, but there was another part of this promo that got me. You held the butterfly belt, but she changed the game. And what has AJ Lee ever done? I'm sorry, if it wasn't for AJ Lee doing what she was doing, to me, it set them up for years. Yes, AJ Lee is a trailblazer. So I know it's a promo, and Brandon, relax, it's a promo, it's a scripted promo. But whoever writing the promo for her has to understand that no, she's done a lot. You carried a butterfly belt. You disrespecting the belt just because it was under Vince McMahon. Again, it was a decent promo for what it was, but I don't care about this feud. I told you guys, even before this happened, I did not want to see Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee again. I don't care about this. Who cares about this? I sure don't. Brandon, what would you have AJ Lee do? I'd rather have you guys tell a story about AJ Lee facing her dream opponent at WrestleMania, which would be Bayley. Do something like that, especially if Bayley's contract is going to be up or whatever the case may be. And if I'm Bayley, this company does nothing for her at this particular point. But I know she wants to be there, so fine. I'm not going to say anything ill will, anything like that. I love Bayley. I think she's top 10 all time when it comes to women's wrestling. Top 5 if you guys have your own list. But AJ Lee versus Bayley at WrestleMania tells a greater story. I don't care about Becky Lynch versus AJ Lee. I don't. You know what it tells me? It tells me, you know what this match tells me? It tells me WrestlePalooza from September. And that we have nothing else, so we're going to keep running something back from WrestlePalooza, which was also a bad show. After that, we get Javon Evans makes his way down to the ring with Offset. The New Day follows. After the end of this match, Offset sends Grayson Waller over the announce desk, distracts Kofi Kingston. He hits him with the OG cutter for the win. The winner of this match was the young OG Javon Evans. After that, him and Offset celebrate in the ring. This match was again to get Javon Evans on TV, to give him another victory heading in Elimination Chamber. I really had no problem with it. Again, I didn't see anything bad about it, but that was pretty much what it on that end. I don't really care about the New Day and Kofi Kingston or Grayson Waller. The winner of the singles match again, Javon Evans. After that, we get AJ Styles with more comments from wrestlers. We didn't see Frank Kazarian walking backstage. Well, this is his first appearance on actually main WWE, not just NXT, but WWE television. And then we see a boiler room that he opens the door and Abyss comes out, which this is Abyss's first time appearing on WWE television. I know he's retired, but Abyss was actually a great character in TNA. And this being his first appearance for AJ Styles, I'm not mad at it. But it's like, damn, what would happen if Abyss actually came to WWE and they could have set up him versus Kane when Kane was actually a good monster? And don't even get me started how Vince McMahon ruined Kane's character when he became the authority figure. It was absolutely just terrible. We then see the first AJ Styles / John Cena match. After that, CM Punk makes his way down to the ring. Punk then plays to the crowd. Isn't it great to be alive in Atlanta on a Monday night or what? The same thing he says every single week. He plays to the crowd. Punk then grabs a microphone and starts off by saying, tonight is not about him. Punk then says he is here to celebrate AJ Styles, so he says the crowd can chant for AJ Styles. Punk then says he wants to save time for AJ to speak to his people. Punk then says he has a big day in front of his people in Chicago. Punk then says he needs to address a few things. Punk then asks, what if this was the last time he got to say, is it great allowed to be Atlanta or what? The same thing he says all the time. Punk then says, what if Finn talked about what ifs? Punk then says, what if you didn't jump him in Toronto, and Finn and ruined the last time he would face AJ Styles? Punk then says, you wouldn't be getting a title shot. Punk then says, it is risky being a fighting champion. Punk then says he is doing what the best that he can. Punk then says, he is giving you a fighting champion and following in the footsteps of the great people. Basically, this promo is basically putting over the fact that he's a fighting champion, that he's making all of the appearances and everything that he's done. He says he doesn't do it with what ifs. Punk then says he will ask Finn and Roman and ask themselves what if. Punk then says he doesn't have to say what if because he's the champion. Punk then says he doesn't have to ask what if because he's the best in the world. Punk then says he doesn't have to ask what if because he's the main event of WrestleMania because he is the main event. I thought this promo was lackluster. I didn't really care about this promo. He came out to the cut promo, kept saying what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, what if, and what if, and what if. I ain't care nothing about this. It was not a good promo from CM Punk. Anybody tells you it was not a good promo. This was one of the worst promos he cut, but I do appreciate CM Punk making all of the shows, making all the events, and etc., etc. I have no problem with CM Punk. I ain't care nothing about this promo, and you want to know why? Because the crowd didn't care about the promo. He mentioned Undertaker, Bret Hart, everybody else. He mentioned the greats. CM Punk is doing a fantastic job. I just didn't care for this promo this week, and I'm usually pretty easy on CM Punk, but I didn't really care about this promo this week. It didn't hit well with the crowd. The crowd was not really into it. Again, this crowd was lackluster. We see, then after that promo, we saw Petey Williams join Borash and Omos backstage. Obviously, Jeremy Borash has affiliations with AJ Styles from TNA. The same thing with Petey Williams and Omos because they won the tag team titles together. Io Sky makes her way down to the ring for the next match of the night with Kairi Sane and Raquel Rodriguez. We get to the end of this match. Io then hits a running double knee strike and goes up for the moonsault, but Raquel stops her and tries for the Tejada bomb. Io then kicks Raquel away, and Io hits a tornado DDT. Io then goes up for a top rope moonsault, and Zayn pushes Io to the turnbuckles. Zayn then goes up for the elbow drop, but Raquel gets her knees up. Raquel then hits a Tejada bomb for the win. The winner of this match is Raquel Rodriguez. I'm usually surprised that they did this. I don't know why they didn't put Io Sky in the match. By the way, I just want to say this too. They need to drop these titles to Last Legend and Nia Jax. If they want to push Last Legend, fine. I have no problem with Last Legend, by the way. Shout out Trick Williams. But Nia Jax, Last Legend, win the tag team titles and have them face the Bellas and have the Bellas beat them at WrestleMania. After that, have Io Sky go to SmackDown and face Julia for the Women's United States Championship and give that championship some much needed attention and let Becky Lynch do something else and you give AJ Lee Bailey at WrestleMania. That'll be a great match for them. Raquel Rodriguez winning this match was a surprise to me because I thought that they would book Io Sky to win to be in Elimination Chamber, but I guess they see something in Raquel Rodriguez that I don't. I have no problem with Raquel Rodriguez. I just don't care about the Judgment Day, and I'm getting pretty aggravated with that storyline, so don't mind me about that. That's just a little bit of a personal thing. She is doing great. She's doing fantastic since she's been back. I have no problem with her personally, but the booking of her has been good as well. I'm not going to lie up here. It's been good, but do I necessarily care about the character? Not really. Io Sky should have won, but I do get why they put Raquel Rodriguez in. It's bigger appeal. They probably did want Io Sky to take a pinfall, which I get it, and put her in the same ring with Rhea Ripley again. So I understand it, but again, I was very, very surprised that they had Raquel Rodriguez win. Michael Cole is confirming that Bronson Reed suffered a distal biceps tear and he will be on definitely. Commentary then runs through the Confirmation Chamber this Saturday. It is announced that next week Dominic Mysterio defends his Intercontinental title against Penta. Dragon Lee will face Gunther and Roman Reigns will appear. And my overall thoughts about Gunther versus Dragon Lee is that Gunther needs to squash Dragon Lee. Let him get a couple offense in, but after that he needs to squash him. Dominic Mysterio needs to retain the championship against Penta. And Roman Reigns appearing will just be a promo and nothing more because they're not going to have CM Punk and Roman Reigns touch each other. Or fight each other next week because they don't want nobody else probably to look bad. They're probably not going to put their hands on each other and wait until WrestleMania. Who cares at this point? I really don't. We then head to the back where Kathy Kelly's with Jade Cargill. Jade wants Kathy to repeat that her name again, the WWE Women's Champion, Jade Cargill. Kathy then asks about Liv facing Stephanie. Jade says Liv made a smart decision in the Elimination Chamber by picking Stephanie. Kathy then asks Jade how does she feel going to Elimination Chamber. Jade then tells Kathy she doesn't care about any of these women. And we get back to the broadcast. They basically cut this promo off because they had to get back to the video package for AJ Styles. We then get a nice video package for AJ Styles highlighting his career. After that, AJ Styles makes his way down to the ring. His music hits. He makes his way down to the ring. AJ Styles is tearing up. AJ starts off by saying he was going to wear a suit, but the last time he beat the piss out of Cody, so he decided not to wear the suit. Because last time he wore a suit, he beat up Cody Rhodes. AJ then says he thought it would be easy, but if he gets choked up, it isn't because he is sad. AJ then says he is so grateful to be in Atlanta. AJ says he grew up 45 miles down the road in Gainesville, Georgia. AJ then says people don't get to have a celebration like this when they retire, and he is thankful for this. AJ then says thank you. AJ then says in his core he is still the kid from Gainesville, Georgia, who fell in love with wrestling. AJ then says he wrestled in Gainesville, the Asylum, in the Tokyo Dome, and at WrestleMania. AJ goes on to say he wrestled some OGs. AJ says Daniels, Joe, Frank, and Zarian made their marks on wrestling. AJ then says he went to Japan. He then says he met some good brothers over there. AJ then says Giles Anderson showed him what it's like to have fun. AJ then says if you are having fun, he is having fun. AJ then says he's done almost everything. AJ then says the one thing he hasn't done is be a full-time father. He says he missed the anniversaries, the birthdays, he missed games, and he missed it all. AJ then says his biggest flex should be all the titles he's won all over the world. AJ then says his biggest flex is having the best wife in the world. AJ then says you never showed him down or shut him down and told him to stop. AJ then says you pushed him forward and held the family together. AJ then says you are the one. AJ then tells his wife that he loves her. AJ thanks his family for being there. He puts his gloves down. Before he puts his gloves down, he says that things may not have gone the way they wanted to against Gunther, at the Royal Rumble. AJ then says it wasn't the way he wanted to go. AJ then said it is poetic. AJ then says not many people get to go out where they started. AJ mentions that he made his debut at the Royal Rumble in 2016. AJ then says his last match was the 2026 Royal Rumble. AJ then says he didn't leave his gloves in the ring, but he is a man of his word. AJ then takes off his vest and puts his gloves on the mat. AJ then says he didn't take off his gloves at the Royal Rumble because he wanted to take them off. He wanted to take them with him and take them off at home in Atlanta. AJ then takes off the gloves, puts them on the top of the vest. As I said, AJ then says he would be nothing without you, and he thanks everyone for their love and says he loves you all. AJ then gets on the turnbuckles, and he gets a standing ovation from the crowd, which is a very, very lackluster celebration from the crowd, if I may say so myself. As the show comes to a close, the executive, Triple H, the executive producer, Lee Fitting, the names pop up, the show is getting ready to close. Everyone then comes out on stage. So everybody thinks the show's going up. Everybody's coming out on stage to give AJ one more ovation. The gong thing sounds and the lights go out. The Undertaker then rides to the ring on his motorcycle. He then gets into the ring, and Undertaker asks him if he's going to just leave his stuff there. He then tells AJ they have some unfinished business. At first, I'm like, man, you gonna do another match, another boneyard match, something like that? But I know Undertaker's basically, he's been retired since 2020. It's 2026. He's not coming back. I know he said never say never, but he's not coming back. And AJ did say he's a man of his word. He then tells AJ they have some unfinished business. He then asks AJ if he heard the saying, if you see me coming, you're already gone. Undertaker says that he changed it for AJ Styles. He then says, if you see me coming, that means you are going. Undertaker then says it is his esteemed honor to tell him that he is going into the Hall of Fame this year. AJ then hugs the Undertaker, and we see his family's reaction before they join him in the ring, and the show comes to a close. He's hugging his wife and his children, and they all lift his hands up in the air, and the show comes to a close. So again, this show was not good at all. But the AJ Styles retirement to me was a little bit lackluster, but I'm not going to say anything bad about that. AJ Styles got to retire how he wanted to in his hometown, so I'm not going to criticize that at all. Undertaker came out. I know that was his last opponent. That was Undertaker's last opponent, so it was only right for Undertaker to come out and let him say, hey, I'm going to go in the Hall of Fame. It seems like Undertaker is basically the guy who's basically going to be putting people in the Hall of Fame, which that's a good thing if you look at it from a standpoint of the legend, the OG, the greatest of all time, in my opinion. The guy who was the locker room leader, one of the greatest, the best, one of the nicest people in WWE history is The Undertaker. So I don't mind this at all. This is absolutely a surprise for AJ Styles. I thought The Undertaker was going to do something like what he did with Ric Flair and basically bow down, but I know he said he retired the jacket, so it is what it is. But this was actually a good thing what The Undertaker did. The crowd was shocked that The Undertaker came out. I was kind of shocked too. I'm like, oh, gong, the lights went out. That he came out with his bike, came on a bike, whatever the case may be. But that was a good part for AJ Styles to put him in the Hall of Fame. Rightfully so. I don't think John Cena's going in this year. I know Stephanie McMahon is going to be the headliner, but now AJ Styles is basically the headliner. Stephanie McMahon, no disrespect to Stephanie McMahon, but she didn't have the same career as AJ Styles. AJ Styles should be the headliner of this Hall of Fame, not Stephanie McMahon. No disrespect to Stephanie McMahon. I like Stephanie McMahon, but she's not the headliner of the Hall of Fame this year. But other than the AJ Styles thing, which I'll put to the side, and I won't criticize that particular retirement. I thought it should have been a little bit longer. More guys should have came out for him, but I get it was his own moment, but I'm not going to criticize it at all. Now, the rest of the show, the promos and everything else that went on with this entire show was absolutely dreadful. The road to WrestleMania through Elimination Chamber is not looking good at all. And quite frankly, they have nobody to blame but themselves. This is all on WWE. WrestleMania tickets, they made them 50% off, then they made them 25% off, and it's not selling. And now they want to do the blackout rules because they can't get tickets to sell. A disgraceful act, and it's not Triple H, so don't blame him. It's TKO and their business strategies, and this is why I said they should not be in the wrestling business. But overall, besides AJ Styles' retirement, I will leave that off of my grade. This show was an F. As a matter of fact, a D plus because of AJ Styles' retirement, but I'll put that separately. That was an A plus, even though it should have been a little longer, but fine. I won't criticize it, so I'll give that an A plus. But other than that, the entire show was a D, D plus, F plus for me, whatever you guys want to grade it. It was a horrible show. A very, very lazy show. The show was dreadful. It took very long. And a show that is 2.5 hours, which kind of goes by fast, even when they're horrible sometimes. This show tonight was a little bit extra slow and a little extra terrible by the booking decisions that was made tonight. I went through it all. Again, this show was absolutely disgraceful. Booking, again, has been terrible for the company this entire year and going back to last year. If you guys enjoyed my review, please hit that like button. Please subscribe to the channel, share with your friends and family so the channel continue to grow and more great content will be headed your way. I appreciate you guys subscribing to the channel. If you guys liked the review, let me know in the comment section down below. Tell me your opinions about the show. Whether you liked it, whether you disliked it, what didn't you like, what did you like? Sound off in the comments down below and let me know how you guys felt about running that Raw overall. Please, again, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends and family so that the channel continue to grow. Until next time, guys, see you real soon.